I remember, especially in the first 3 years of me standing for my marriage, I felt so stupid. I felt so stupid for standing so many times because he was in love with this other person. His lifestyle did not include me. I was abandoned. Obviously, I was devastated and hurt, and yet I still stood. And I'm sure others thought I was stupid too. Maybe they thought I was doing it because I couldn't find anybody else. Maybe they thought I was doing it for financial reasons. Like they had their different opinions, and that's okay. I mean, when you see somebody hurting, you want to encourage them to do things that makes them not hurt anymore. But at the end of the day, I had to go back to my own belief system, and what did my belief system say? And not everybody believes the way that I believe, and that's completely fine. But for me, I just didn't understand why people would praise loyalty everywhere until it came to marriage. Like, I am a loyal person. I tend to have people's backs for a very long time, sometimes even when we're not necessarily friends anymore. But I was like, friends and family and all that were telling me, you just need a divorce, you need to move on and all that. But there was something in me that would not let it go. I think people thought that I was in denial. And the truth of the matter is, standing for your marriage is not always denial. Sometimes it's discernment. Sometimes you have wisdom to know that this situation is temporary. And like, if my spouse is an addict, it could potentially be temporary. My spouse is cheating on me. This could be temporary. This pain that I'm experiencing right now is not going to hurt like it forever. We have seasons of life. We come in and out of good times and bad times and all that. So for me, it was like, this thing could potentially be temporary. And I knew what I was dealing with. I mean, he was declaring his undying love for this other person. And so I wasn't in the dark. I wasn't living in a fantasy world myself. I mean, maybe in the beginning I was, but as time went on and as I continued to deal and learn and try to change and be a better person and all that, I felt like it was wise to be loyal, or wise to wait a little bit longer to see what would happen. Because what I knew is that what he was feeling for this person was temporary. It wasn't going to last forever. And I did not want temporary emotions to dictate my permanent decisions. I did not want to make lifelong decisions for myself and my children based upon temporary emotions that I was feeling. Because believe me, there were days that I was angry. There was days that I was hurt and devastated, days that I was numb. There were all kinds of emotions going on in me, but even those were temporary. I mean, I remember feeling super sad, and then I would say, I'm just going to, sleep good tonight and eat well and see how I feel in the morning before I make the decision. And every time the next morning, I felt better. I saw it differently. I felt differently about the situation. So if my emotions were temporary, of course, his emotions would be temporary. And so I wanted to use logic. I wanted to be wise. I didn't want to make these lifelong altering decisions based upon something that was temporary. The other thing was that, research shows us that in limerence, they rewrite history and they idolize this other person. But if the standing spouse is doing what they can to work on themselves and try to be the best version of themselves and all that, that is going to have an influence on the other person. I've said in previous videos of everything that I did wrong. And when I stopped doing, like when I was doing those things wrong, it created the environment where it pushed him further away. But when I stopped doing those things, it made it somewhat better. And then when I started doing the right things, it made it a lot better. And so in my mind, I was like, maybe I'm not stupid. Right? Maybe I'm just waiting for clarity. Maybe I'm waiting on a sign from God. And I was. And believe me, many times I asked God, show me a sign, because I don't want to hurt anymore and I want to be out of this relationship. But there was a value system in me that would not let go. Like I just could not. And I knew at the end of the day that I had to do what I felt was right so that when I laid my head on the pillow at night, I would be at peace. And I knew, especially because in my past, based upon pain that I experienced and trauma that I experienced, I made terrible decisions because of that. But I was able to turn some of that around with God's help. I was able to changing course and doing the right things, and God's help made it where I didn't make those decisions, those negative decisions anymore. So what if I wait and God works on his life, maybe that would turn around for him too. And so in a sense, it goes back to, I was really trying to discern what the Lord wanted me to do. And sometimes it just takes time to wait that out. And listen, guys, hope is not weakness. Loving someone through a broken season does not automatically make you foolish. In fact, I think that if you do that, you gain the ability to see through what the person is doing, to see who the person is. And that person is broken. And listen, I had all my own stuff that I had working on too. And, for me, it was like I was hurting so badly. I didn't want to make that decision from the pain. I wanted to heal. And so in that process, while all of that's playing out, while limerence is playing out, while the affair is playing out, I'm going to choose to work on me. I'm going to choose to try to be the best human I can possibly be. And when I did the work, it worked. It helped. And I don't mean it necessarily rendered me what I wanted it to render me in that time, because it was not immediate, but it did change me. It made me more capable to deal with my emotions. It gave me endurance to endure the 6 years that I endured. It made me a better parent. It made me a better human. And all of that eventually did have influence over David. But although I do give the glory to God for all the work that had been done. But so many times in this world, they're like, hey, they cheated on you, move on. You don't deserve this. And the truth is, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. But at the end of the day, do you want to be a person that stuck to their belief system, or do you want to follow what the world tells you to do, or what your friends or family tell you to do? And listen, they don't mean harm. If your friends and family are telling you to get divorced, they don't mean harm by that. They just love you and they just don't want you to hurt anymore. And so that's why they're telling you to do that. But that's why you have to know who you are. You have to know what your belief system says that you should do. And it takes time to discover that. So I want to encourage you and tell you, you're not stupid. Sometimes people, or sometimes marriages, are worth fighting for. And I know that it's hard and it's grueling, and sometimes it feels like an uphill battle, and sometimes you take a few steps forward and then you fall back down again and all of that. But I'm going to tell you that it's worth it. Even if you end in divorce, it's worth it, because you did all that you could do to turn it around and make it work. And even if it does not heal your marriage, it will heal you. And so I want to tell you, you're not stupid. I understand feeling that way. I understand other people thinking that you're stupid for standing, but you're not stupid. I want to encourage you to stick as closely to your values as you can. I want to encourage you to go on the journey of healing. I want to encourage you to see your spouse and see the pain that they're experiencing. That's why they're doing the things that they're doing. The world quickly wants to call them narcissistic. The world quickly wants to call them evil. But I'm going to tell you, most of the time, they're just hurting. And yes, the things that they are doing and the pain that they are experiencing is hurting you too, but you can overcome it. Again, you're not stupid for standing. If you need help in your stand, if you need somebody to come alongside you and support you as you stand, reach out to us today at info@itsnotover.net. Have a good day.